Okay. Let's see if people catch this. Something happened with the original, so I couldn't do that one. And if it doesn't work, then... Okay. What happened? Okay, looks like this one is working. Sorry for that. Didn't know what happened with the other one. A little bit of a technical difficulty this morning. Yeah. I don't think it pushed out the or I don't think YouTube pushed out the notification on the previous live session because I was actually doing something really weird. Yeah, so that's on me. But, whoops. And this is also on me because the camera was on all the time. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are having a better morning than I am here. Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy week. Let's just say that. And I've been totally running on caffeine this whole week. Yeah. So, but I didn't want to cancel today because this is something enjoyable. It's something relaxing. So I figured let's just go through it. But yeah. Let's see who is here today. Good morning, Miss Carissa. How are you? Donna Hoskins is saying, hey. Hello, Donna. Hi, Terry. Diane Wilson is saying hello. Hello, Diane. And Cheryl is here. Pearl Medina, good morning to you, Pearl. Hey, Miss Jackie. Let's see. We got Katie Crafts here saying hello. Rosie Nomad. Hello, Rosie. Margaret Hassler is here. Good morning, Margaret. Linda Fugate. Hello from my hospital room. Not sure what is going on health-wise, but came in yesterday. On my 74th birthday, we'll be in and out of the live. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully they do resolve things. So, but thank you for joining from your hospital bed, Linda. Confident Quilter, that's Gladys. Hello, Gladys. Claudia, how you been, girl? She's saying hello to everyone. Suzanne Taylor is here. Hello, Suzanne. And Quilt Meets World. Hello. Hello, Miss Patty. Morning, no power due to storms. Hoping it returns shortly. Okay. Hoping you're staying safe. And yes, happy birthday, Linda. That's a terrible birthday gift, but hopefully you do get to celebrate a little bit. Yeah. So what happened this morning? I scheduled the live, but then I was also doing some edits to it on YouTube, in which I think that's what caused the notification not to get pushed out. And when I went on live, or I actually started the live session, I figured, oh, nobody's here. So I figured maybe whatever I was doing with the YouTube or doing the edits on the YouTube channel might have been affecting that. So I said, okay, let's just stop it, start a new one. And that's what I did. And then everybody showed up. So, yeah, sometimes technology gets the best of you. It's chilly in Phoenix. It's at 64. What is it here? Oh, we're at 61. Well, according to Alexa. No, I'm not talking to you. Okay, let's switch up the view. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just sewing squares. The last time you saw me do these 9-patch, oh, where did this come from? 9-patch squares, which I will use for something, but I actually needed 4-patch squares. Silly me. But at least those won't go to waste. I do have something in mind that I can use them for, but I need a bunch of these 4-patch squares, and we'll make something out of them. Well, we'll do something with it, and you'll find out in an upcoming video. Let's just put it that way. And I'm not really going to try and play matchy. Well, if I can match it. Yeah, I'm not going to play matchy-matchy, although these ones without the white, we'll see if I actually use them here. But I'll just see how much we got. I think I am only going to use the ones with the white. And, I have a stash of these. Well, a small stash, but a stash of them. And whenever I get projects that come up that require 4 patches of this size, I use it. So I want to do it with the white. So I don't think I'm going to be using any of these. I could use those. Oh. Okay, and we'll make it scrappy, so not so much matching, although this black kind of sticks out like that. But I'm going to just make a pile of them for now. So grab those two, and let's see. We'll use the green. There. So what is everybody working on this morning? And we'll just line it up, and we can hopefully get a bunch of these done today. Oh, would help to turn on the sewing machine. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. Let me just say that. It is tax time, even though I'm not a tax accountant, so to speak. There's a lot of reports, a lot of preparation that I need to do to prepare for those tax returns. And on top of that, the boss is trying to expand the company, so he needed some reports done. Hi, Linda. Good morning, Heather. Still working on getting out of bed. Okay. Yeah. I actually got up early this morning, and then it was about 10 degrees colder than it is now. So I said, forget it. I'm not getting out of bed, and fell back asleep. I'm just going to make a bunch of these green ones. Just doing a bunch of 4 patches. And this will be, well, I am going to use it for something coming up later this year. And you guys will see that. And I will take you guys on the ride for it. What was I saying? It's been, yeah. So I think I put in about a good 80 hours this week. Monday, got in at about 10. Got into the office around 10. I didn't leave till like 10. So Tuesday, stayed up all night. Yeah, actually, I didn't come home till Thursday morning. And then Thursday I stayed, came home for a little bit, and then stayed until about 10. Then yesterday I was just too exhausted, so I just left the office at around 3 o'clock. And then came home, slept all the way till about 6 this morning, and then went back to sleep as soon as I got up. Yeah, I think I'm just going to run all these greens so I have a bunch of them. So that was how my week was going. I'll probably hear about things Monday morning. Hopefully it'll be good news. Good news at that. And yes, I know these are tiny, but hey, with the way things are going these days, you got to use every last bit of fabric. So that's what I'm doing. Hi, Clarissa. So glad to get you live. I'm working on a pincushion exchange. Ooh. And Suzanne Taylor says, I'm watching curling on the TV and you on my cell and enjoying a cup of coffee. In bed? Ooh, that's very cheap fabric. I say that because I was looking at it and I can see right through it. But you know what? I'm going to use it anyway. It's just a small piece. Do, do, do. Pincushion. You don't see very many patterns for pincushions around, among other things. You see patterns for bags, you see patterns for, of course, quilts, you see patterns for a lot of different things, but not pincushions. I would love to see the pattern of the pincushion that I purchased when I was at Quilt Las Vegas, because it just looks like a bunch of pillows stacked on each other. And if I had a pattern for that, I probably would attempt to make it. Okay, I gotta make sure I have enough pieces to actually make the 4-patch here. Okay. Let's see. Carissa says, so putting off running errands. Okay. Yeah, there's a few errands that I need to actually do, but I don't want to do them, especially after the week I've had. Jackie says, not sewing, packing up more donations for this week's pickup. Okay. Terry Bishop says that she is working on the exploding heart quilt. That's a lot of triangles there you got. um, and Carissa says, just got the next round robin a couple days ago, working on that. Okay. Hi, Joyce from Washington, D.C. Hello, Miss Joy T. Okay, this one is stuck in there, so I am going to pluck this one. And I can press all of these. Just lay them out here. Move that. We'll press. I don't know when I started doing this, but lately I've been, normally I would press the blocks with the iron from the front. But lately I've been turning them on the back and pressing the back instead. I don't know why. Just one of those things that I just picked up on. I'll do these. And then how many of this do I have? Okay, we'll put these back for a scrappy day. Yeah, I just started noticing that the other day that I used to press all the time from the top of the fabric. But lately, I don't know, again, I don't know why I started doing it, but I've been pressing from the back of the block instead. Maybe it's because I started doing some different things with the seams. Yeah, I used to be a person that strictly pressed my seams to one side. And then I started pressing the seams open on certain blocks or for certain situations. And I kind of noticed that when I try and do or press the seams open, sometimes it doesn't lay flat, so I would have to turn it over. Maybe that's why I started doing that. And I'm just working with these. Quick and easy to make if you got all your pieces cut. And you can chain stitch this, or this could be a leader and ender project. That's what I normally do with this. Oh, wrong side. That's the stiletto. Take jack out and we will rip this or spin the seam in the middle. Come on, I need you to get open. Press that and we'll pluck a few of the stitches back here so that it can lie flat. pluck this out. Oh, got it. Okay. And we'll press the final one. Okay. Let's see. Good afternoon, Lizette. Well, good morning for some of us. Joyce Jordan says, I'm making the half plastic, half fabric with zipper see-through pouch. Half. Are you using vinyl? Hello, Miss Mary. Marty and I went on a shop hop, 9 shops in 2 days. I'm tired. Wow. Clarissa says, I've made my own pattern this exchange. Bunny. Oh, the theme is spring. Okay. Just making a pin cushion. So a bunny pin cushion. Okay. Would love for you to design a pin cushion pattern of your favorite. I'm looking for flamingo pattern, working on Florida. Shop hop found a flamingo pattern, but they were out. Oh, I don't, I've never actually done a pattern. Well, never actually done a pattern, period. But I think with the pincushion, because I don't have any experience in sewing something like that, I wouldn't necessarily create a pattern. I could experiment with it, but it would take me a while. I've never actually even sewn like a stuffed animal or stuffed doll. So I would start with something like that first. I do have a pattern for that I picked up on and just haven't had the time to actually sit down and sew the pattern or look through it. But that could be something for maybe a future live or future project, which I could do. But that would be something that you would see me make a lot of mistakes on, because again, it's not something I have a whole ton of experience with. So I do have those, and do I have a bunch of white? I know I have a bunch of white. I'll pull out some white squares here. And I know I have a green. I shall use this green here. We'll kind of make it matchy-matchy, even though I really don't like it, or I don't like to make it too matching, but let's see, we'll make a double. And if I did my calculations right, this should end up being the correct size that I'm looking for. I'll just put that there for now. And we'll put this one, pick the threads off. Line that up a little better, and we'll sew that. First column is done. Then I can take this. I see this one is already done. We'll sew this together. Try and nest the seams there. We'll press towards the background, even though I know I'm going to see a lot of shadowing. So this one will go on here. Then this will go on here. The last piece, do I have it on right? Yeah. Goes on there. Pull this piece off and we'll split that one open. I'll pick the stitch out here. There we go. We'll pluck a little bit. I'll need to pluck one more stitch out there. Now we got it. That is a lot. 9 shops in 2 days. That is quite a bit. I think the most shops I ever did, if you can call it a shop hop, I think it was 4. I'm not sure if Nevada has a shop hop. I would imagine there's not. There's not a lot of quilt shops. Even here in Vegas, I think there's maybe about 4 or so. And then within the rest of Nevada, I have no idea. I know Southern California does have a quilt shop or a shop hop that they tried to do. Problem with California though is, number one, each of those shops are like at least a 2-hour drive away between each other because you're stretching from San Diego all the way to San Jose. And the amount of gas that you'll be spending, that's, well, there goes your fabric money. In that case, most quilters that I know that have done it only maybe go to 1 or 2 shops. You know, we don't have the luxury on the West Coast of having a shop or quilt shop every couple blocks like they do in certain other parts of the country. I'm just going to cut the connecting threads there. Ooh. Nose is stuffy. this, and then this can go together. We'll take that and okay, it's not the most perfect block, but at least did I get it the right size? Yeah, close enough. Wow, some people did all 9 shops in one day, but they got an early start than we did. Okay. Wow. That's a lot. I mean, as much as I love fabric shopping, that is a lot. And Mary says they were just after the prizes. Yeah. Eric, how do you sort your fabrics? Just by color. And then, well, see, I wish I had my cell phone hooked up, because I would just actually show you and take you around the setup. But normally, if I get, let's see. I can show you this. So I have these bins under the, oh, don't ask me why I threw this here. Is it a fat quarter size? Normally, whenever I'm finishing up a quilt, you know, you get these offshoots or like strips like this. And I just throw these into a bin with like or similar colors like this. So I sort it initially by color. I don't give any consideration in terms of the size. Well, I sort of do, but sort of don't. When it's a larger size like this, it just goes right in the bin. Now, as I start to, or whenever I make a quilt, such as, for example, the Farmer's Wife quilt that you saw me do all of last year, if I need fabric, this is the first spot that I will come to. I will just kind of look through, see what kind of sizes I got. If it's about a fat quarter size, I wouldn't put it in here. I would actually put it on my fabric shelf. But if it's smaller, or if I can't get a fat quarter out of it, then, but if it's a pretty decent size like this, you know, I'll just kind of throw it in here and sort it according to the bin or the color of it. When it gets to small pieces like this, for example, I don't know why, or I might have just thrown this in the rush of things, but this would go into like a crumb, my pile of crumb fabric, or if I can get a 2.5 inch square out of it, I will cut that size. Or even today, if I can get a 1.5 inch square, I'll do that. So I'll take that out, and then, yeah, I think those can probably not be in here along with this. Oh gosh, I was trying to get rid of this fabric and now I'm finding more of this fabric. So, but yeah, the bins, this bin, I have a bunch of them and they're all different, or they're sorted by color. And so I keep this under the cutting table just so that as I'm cutting fabrics, if it qualifies to make it in this bin, I'll just throw it in here. If it's a little smaller, then I have another bin with all the string pieces. And then normally, if I don't want to keep the fabric, if I want to just cut it down to a usable size, I will cut the 2.5 inch squares, or 1.5 inch squares, or 5.5 inch squares. Or I'll just cut I'll cut a strip of that fabric. So like this, I know I can get these. I can probably get a 1.5 inch. So I will take these, as well as probably these too. I must have just thrown these pieces in that bin in the rush of a moment. I was going to say in the heat of the moment, but that sounds a little too risque. I will cut and I'm cutting this to a 1.5 inch size so I can actually use it for this project that I'm working on right now. And so that's how I kind of process scrap fabrics in a nutshell. And I will throw this in the crumb bin. Okay, back to the project at hand. So I will need to steamroll this open. Roly-poly, where are ya? Ooh, didn't quite get that open. Now it's wide open. Roll that. I'm just rolling it, and I'm going to press this, but I kind of find that if I roll it open first, or use roly-poly here, that's what I call it, or when I roll it open first, I find that the seams do lie a lot more flat and a lot better. So as soon as I want to press these seams open, I just kind of say to myself, where's roly-poly? And we will roly-poly them open. Yeah, I used to use a pressing stick and to try to press and get the seam open. That didn't work as well for me. I need to cut those threads. That's why it's not opening on this side. Now, of course, I could just finger press it down, but whenever I finger press, I tend to stretch the fabric, so I like to use this roller instead, because it's actually just pressing it open. Okay, so now I can take this to the iron and get it all flattened out. Put the clappers on. Clap, clap. Let's let that rest. Okay. Shop hops. Yeah, some of the shop hops actually give prizes, or they give stuff away. Like you get like maybe like a small panel. I know a while back, I don't know if they still do this. Some of the shops were giving like a small panel that looked like a license plate, and it's to indicate that you, on that shop hop, you visited that particular shop. I've made several mistakes on the bunny. I like to see different things when I get bored of quilting. Yeah, me too. Well, I don't, if I get bored or if I just kind of need to do something else, which happens a lot, I will take up another craft. And that can be dangerous because, as you guys know, once you start or if you get into a different kind of craft, then you start buying the tools, the materials. Um, Sometimes you might take classes, which can get pretty expensive. So one thing I haven't done a lot of, and I wanted to do more of it this year, card making. During COVID, I kind of got bored sewing quilts all the time and just kind of got a little tired of the monotony of quilting. So needed something to do to kind of get the creative juices flowing again. And so I took up card making and I started watching various videos of other card makers. Simon Hurley was one, Tim Holtz, who coincidentally, he's also a fabric designer, but he's like the kind of the king of paper crafting, although he dabbles in a whole ton of other stuff. Jennifer McGuire was another one. Learned a lot watching her videos. And that's how I got into card making, but never, haven't done it in a while. Okay, this one should be ready. There's my block. And I should trim this down, or at least straighten up the edges here a little bit, because I know I can kind of tell it's stretched out. So I will grab the rotating mat for this one. Okay, the blade didn't go all the way through there. Scissors is a bit big to just snip off a small little thread, so I have a tendency of going a little too oversized with stuff, not just with quilting. But then again, my whole life is a little oversized. There we go. Let's clear off the shavings. There is the block, and it's a little short on that edge, but it'll be good enough. So one down, and about 1,000,000 more to go. Okay. Hi, Donna. Donna Bogart says, finally caught alive. Well, welcome, welcome. Glad you made it to the live. Clarissa says 4 of us went to 4 shops yesterday. It took us 8 hours in Florida. Wow. Yeah, I think Florida has the traffic in Florida is pretty bad. Okay. Has anyone not that I want to turn this into a political discussion, so don't take it in that direction. But I know for a fact that a lot of the fabric companies are being affected by what's happening internationally. with all the tariffs going into place. So I'm just wondering if anyone has seen any price increases or dramatic price increases. Because I know, I mean, outside of quilting, a lot of the businesses here locally, um, you know, to get raw materials, they're saying they're starting to feel the pinch of what's been going on. And of course, and again, I don't want to turn this into a political discussion. Let's keep politics out of it, but we also have to deal with the reality of certain things, and this is one of them. So, yeah, a lot of the vendors here in southern Nevada have already started implementing some increases in preparation for what's been happening. If you're if you subscribe to the AccuQuilt newsletter, you might have seen or you might have noticed that the CEO of AccuQuilt had to send out an email that he probably didn't want to, mentioning that for the first time in a number of years, they are going to be increasing their prices again. I think he said 25%, but don't quote me on that. And of course, as a person who works in the business and financial world, I know that's a direct relationship due to the tariffs that are going into place. Too bad I don't have enough. Isn't this pretty? I mean, it's a small, I know it's a small square, but can you imagine what the entire fabric looked like? Wow. I just thought it was so pretty, which is why I bought 9 yards of it. Hello, Miss Sheila. Good to see you. Hope everything is going good in your neck of the woods. Have you, well, no, I better not ask. Of course, now she's probably thinking, what is he going to ask? I wish I was that organized. Oh, Carissa, it takes a little effort, but trust me, when you find your organizational groove, you'll kind of wonder how you did without it. Again, I don't spend a whole ton of time organizing. Well, I don't like to spend a whole ton of time organizing scraps. So the system that I have in place works for me. I just kind of, make a quick decision about what color bin I want to put it in, and that's where it goes. I don't spend the time. I know a lot of people like to have it like so rigid, which is why they don't do it by color. They'll do it by some other thing that is much, much more definitive. But the thing is, for me, I mean, I just want to spend less time organizing stuff and more time actually doing what I want to do. So minimal effort, maximum effect is what I would say. Okay, let's use up these reds. I think I'm going to end up making a whole bunch of these that are just totally scrappy because I don't think I have enough to make a full 9 patch like I did with the first one. Of course, I could dig through my fabric scrap bins to see if I have some more of these same fabrics, which is what I'll probably do before I start cutting fresh yardage. Okay, let me catch up with it. Okay. So Mary has a follow-up question. So out of your 1 inch, 2 inch, etc. squares do you put those in a separate bin? Yes, I do, Mary. So there is a bin. Well, I use these muffin tins for the 1.5. As you can kind of see, I don't keep a huge collection of 1.5 inch squares because I have been using them. I do have a bin for 2.5 inch squares, 5 inch squares, and a bin for all the crumb pieces, a separate container for, let's see, what else do I keep? 2.5 inch strips, as well as not 2.5, 5 inch strips, and then a separate bin for strings. You know about my crumb pieces, container for that. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I keep. I know that certain people go crazy keeping so many different sizes. That's not me. I keep 2.5 and 5 inch both squares and strips because these are the sizes that I will use the most. And I find that, I mean, if I need like a 3-inch square, I'll just take a 5-inch square and cut it down. I know people that have like a very elaborate system of varying sizes of pre-cuts. Again, that's just not me because I don't use a whole ton of other sizes. So if I'm not using it, it's just going to collect and stack up and drive me crazy. So again, my philosophy with scrap management is just whatever's the simplest way but most effective way for you to actually use it up. That's what I'll do. That's my philosophy on it. And I'm sticking to it for now. So, but this just kind of gives me encouragement that I need to do a video of how I manage my scraps. Because, Mary, you're not the first person to ask me, and you're definitely not going to be the last one. So let me turn the question around to you, Mary. How do you manage your scraps? Or how do you organize your scraps? Because it does take effort, I will say that. And how much effort you want to put into it will be a reflection of how you organize it, as well as how you use it up. And if you're anything like me, you don't want to fiddle around too much with scraps. So, but having it organized, I will say, is very nice because when you need it, you know where to look. And you're not going to be spending a whole ton of time looking for stuff. Okay, so let's see. Hello, Susan. Lizette says I'm actually working on my shop hop mystery quote. Oh, okay. So that's another thing that shop hop shops will do. I'm assuming it's a situation where every shop that you visit will have a clue to the mystery quote or have a block maybe for the mystery quote. I've seen shops do that. The good thing about it is it keeps you interested, or you'll actually make a quote out of it. The bad thing is you got to do all the shops in the shop hop. And if it's 100 miles between shops, well, I guess you're traveling 100 miles. I've seen a few individuals do something very creative in that they will split up, or they will kind of gather a group of people and they will split up among themselves where Some of them will go to this set of shops, and others will go to a different set of shops, and then they kind of combine, meet up at a coffee shop later on during the week, and then kind of exchange patterns, which I don't really necessarily encourage. But sometimes these shops are so far away, and at least the shop got something or someone to purchase something. So yeah, when I was living in Los Angeles, you know, the some of the ladies were doing a shop hop, and so one of them asked if I wanted to join because I lived close to one of the shops, or much closer than where they were. For them to actually visit that shop would have, I mean, because it's LA traffic, it would have probably taken them about an hour and a half to get to there. And so they asked if I wanted to be part of that. And then when they explained how they were organizing it, um, I know it's not illegal to do it, but it just didn't feel right. So I kind of politely declined, and they understood why. I don't know who they got to go to that shop. How many more of these can I actually do? 1, 2, and then I will switch it to this on a different red. Ooh, look at that bright color red. That's a deep red color. And that'll be enough with these. Throw that back in there. So I'll do, I only needed one. Nope, wait, that one can go with that. These two can go with this. So, yep. Okay. Press this, and I can do these two, so that into a 4 patch there. Hi, Joanna. Let's see. Susan You're Out says there is a Pacific Northwest shop hop going on right now. Wow. If it's a Pacific Northwest, that really must cover some ground. Kev Mary says going down a different craft rabbit hole is expensive. Ask me how I know. Tim Holtz has a fat quarter club this year with different colors of fat quarters each month. Oh, I didn't know that. Mary Wilson. Hello, Mary. She says she's collecting some colorways of those new Tim Holt collections. They are awesome. He's got a very interesting perspective about color because his thing is vintage. So he likes antiques. Even when you look at his products for paper crafting, a lot of it is like vintage photos, or they're based off of vintage photos, vintage, just vintage in general, vintage and antique. So he uses a lot of brown colors, kind of tarnish. He likes that tarnished look to things. So it's very, very interesting that how it translates into his fabric collections, because I did notice that a lot of it, it's not bright in your face kind of colors. Um, it's kind of, I don't know, brown. It's kind of, he would call it, maybe he would call it distressed, but um, yeah, it's an interesting color, or it's an interesting fabric collection, I would say. But if he's doing a fat quarter club, then sign me up. Um, I'm not a fan of Tim Holtz. How can I find out more about his club? Yeah, actually, let me know too, because I want to join that. Villa Rosa is selling the Tim Holtz collection as they come in. Several colorways are already in their stores. Villa Rosa, okay. There are a few shops that do carry the Tim Holtz line that I've seen. I believe Tim Holtz on one of his live, was it? I think it was a YouTube live. He did mention Fat Quarter Shop does carry his fabrics, in which I'm not sure if Fat Quarter Shop has the more recent ones, but I do know that there is some Tim Holtz fabric there. I I don't know about Missouri Star or any other online retailer that would carry his line of fabric. You could possibly get maybe a Fat Quarter bundle on Amazon. I mean, that's a possibility. I've done that before. Come on, let's plug this guy out. Come on. There we go. Now we got it flat. And we'll start working with these reds. Oh, this is a batik, so it doesn't matter. Right side, wrong side. Peachy, peachy, oh, there's the other camera. And Joy T is saying she hasn't seen price increases yet, but imagine prices will increase as time goes on. Especially since Joann's is closing. Yeah. Yeah, the final day for Joann's is approaching fast. I shall check out whatever's left over, because now I would imagine this is the time when the deep discounts really come in. Tiffany did a live on making fabric cards using 5x7 photo cards. Very impressive. That's not really anything new. I think it was new to her because that was the first time she was doing it. But in the card making world, they have discovered that you can use fabrics on paper cards or for making cards. I've seen that. I've done that a few times. then I know she got a kind of a little bit kind. I know Tiffany kind of enjoyed making it. Now my brain isn't set up to be organized. I can't focus enough. Okay, so this Stitch On in Lawrence, Kansas is doing it. Also Overbrook Quilt Connection, otherwise maybe the Tim Holtz website. You could also look at the Free Spirit website to see where they distribute to, because Tim Holtz is part of the Free Spirit fabric. He's one of the fabric designers for them. I do remember on one of his lives when he was featuring a new fabric collection, he mentioned that when he first started out, he was at Quilt Market and he didn't know who she was, but Tula Pink actually walked up to him about it. And, you know, he felt so bad because nobody was really interested in, or he felt like nobody was interested in his fabric line because nobody was visiting the booth. But Tula Pink kind of encouraged him, no, you got a different perspective, so keep at it. Then later on, he found out who she really was, and then kind of appreciated the encouragement that she gave him. I don't know what I would do if Tula Pink walked up to me and started just chatting with me. I'd probably fangirl out. Susan says, had a chat with one of the vendors at our quilt show whose mom buys fabrics from Africa and is getting concerned about how the tariffs will affect the prices. From Africa? Now I'm seeing a growing trend that a lot of people are now starting to import African, what is it, that wax fabric. And those fabrics really are nice because the prints are just really bright and colorful. And I know there's a vendor close by to Vegas. I think she's somewhere in Southern California. I know that, but I used to always see her when I went to the Road to California show, and her stalls were just like, her booth would always be full of African print fabrics. And I would always be tempted to buy one. I just don't know how to use it. Well, I'm pretty sure I would be able to figure out how to use it, but it was always so nice to see her in all the colors that she had. And she didn't just sell fabric. She had the basket weaves or woven baskets. A lot of the, I don't want to say turban, the headpieces that they have, which again, bright and vibrant colors. So yeah, I would just hate to see, or it would be sad to see vendors like that get hurt by all of these tariffs, even though we know they're going to get hurt. Just pressing. See, here I go again, pressing from the back side. Yep. Okay, shot of steam there. Okay. Our best friend or our best framing shop had to close because of our situation. Wow. See, it's not just the quilt shops that are going to get affected. It's everybody. What size blocks are you using? These will, well, the entire block, when I get it all sewn, unfinished size will be 6.5. So finished size will be 6. I kind of don't want to mention what's, well, if you've been kind of watching and paying attention to not just this live, but previous lives, these muffin tins, I keep 1.5-inch squares. So you can kind of figure out what size these squares are, or these blocks are turning out to be. Kind of don't want to mention this because there is, in the video that I'm thinking about doing, using these units, it's all about the math behind it. So I don't want to give too much away, which is why I was kind of hesitant about doing this morning. But I said, you know what? I don't have any other project to do, so let's just do it. Okay. Let's do some more of this pink so I can make a whole block out of that. Okay, so we won't be on for another 20 minutes or so. Don't forget, for those of you that like to join me, there is a Zoom coming up later on today, which will start at 12 noon Pacific time. And if you still want in on that, then send me an email. I can send you the information. But once I start on Zoom, I can't do emails, so you have to do it before then. Yep, so today is Zoom day as well. I know I had a stack of these somewhere. Stack of the white squares. Yes, a video would be good. Okay, Mary. Just for you, Mary. We'll do that video about how I organize my scraps. I can tell where certain fabric scraps are put in my quilt room mess, but lose my glasses and remotes all the time. You're not the only one there, Carissa. In fact, for me, it's not the remote, it's the cell phone, because I tend to just kind of toss it and leave it someplace and I forget where I put it. So it's a good thing. Some of these smart devices like the Alexa and the Google, I wasn't talking to you, Alexa. You know, I can ask it where I put my phone and it'll ring my phone for me so I can find it. But boy, oh boys, whoever created that function on these devices, they should get $1 million. Not that I would pay them $1 million because I don't have one. But that was a smart function to include on those devices. Heck, I would buy those devices just for that function alone. got one more coming, and this one is finished, so I can take the seam out from here. And oh boy, the neighbors are starting up early this morning. Okay. Okay, so Susan says the Pacific Northwest shop hop does cover hundreds of miles, all of Washington State and Oregon, divided in regions. Four of the shops that I haven't gone to yet are indeed hundreds of miles away. Yeah, I would imagine that's gotta be some distance. We have a passport that gets stamped at each shop and get the pattern at the qualifying final shop. This year, the shop hop had 9 shops and we earned the pattern at the 7th. Oh, okay. That's an interesting way of doing it because you have to kind of guess which shop actually has the final pattern, right? I guess throughout your, or as you do your shop hop, every shop will give you a piece of the clue, and then there's one shop that has the pattern itself to put the whole quote together. So that's an interesting way of actually dividing it. Free Spirit had asked Tim Holtz to do collections by color. Oh, that's interesting. Never known Tim Holtz to actually be requested to do something. He usually just does whatever he needs to do or what he feels that he needs to do. The club was quilt stores had signed up to carry those collections all year long. Some shops set up their own club for customers. Oh, interesting. GE Quilt Design carries a bunch of Tim Holtz. Okay, so GE Quilt Designs, that's another one. So Terry says, been lurking. Cotton Cuts has Tim Holtz. Been doing a different colorway every month. Okay. So GE Quilts, Cotton Cuts, Fabric. Why can't I think of her name? Kimberly Jolly's Quilt Shop. Fat Quarter Shop. Thank you. They all carry Tim Holtz, as well as those, or I'm assuming these are all online retailers. This Tim Holtz collection is fabric printed from his collection in fabric. It's stamps that he collected, or based on stamps that he collected. There was one fabric line that I think he did that was based on the passport stamps that he had, which I thought was interesting. And Susan You're Out says, the closest Joann's to me is down to selling their shelves and other fixtures as well as what is left in the fabrics. Okay, so I shall go shelf shopping then. So far, they have released red, pink, orange, and one that I can't think of. Joanna says, you all have piqued my interest in shop hops. There's one in New England, September 1st to October 31st. Joanna, have at it. Just grab a bunch of your girlfriends and just start driving to these various shops because it is fun. I will say it is fun to do. Last time I was in Houston, myself, Kevin the Quilter, and one of our common friends, Jason Lewis, we were all in Houston along with T of T Quilts. T was working a quilt booth one day, so we decided to just do a local shop hop. And I think we went to 4 different shops. Some of them were kind of okay. And then there was one that was like a hidden gem. Oh my gosh. If I could remember the name of the shop, I would tell you guys, but I don't know what I did with the card, but my goodness, it was such a fun shop to go to. She didn't only sell fabric, she sold candles, which I bought a lot of, she had her own patterns, which I know I bought, and I still have yet to make that quilt. Such a great shop to go. And you find hidden gems like that on these shop hops. Other shops were just kind of more focused in on quilting services, like long arming, for example. And they were interesting. I wouldn't necessarily visit them again, though. But yeah, it's fun to do a shop hop. And even if you're not buying fabric, just to visit the shops, of course, you want to buy something just to support them in what little way you can. So, just buy a fat quarter or just buy a seam ripper of some sort. Maybe a notion or two. I think I totally cut that square crooked. Let's see. T has a lot of African fabrics, and I have one that I'm going to use the Take 5 pattern, I think. The border, each block with black. That's Mary. Tula Pink just had a video about people copying her lines. Susan says, I met Judy Niemeyer at the Tri-Cities Washington State Quilt Show last weekend. Ooh. I don't think I've actually seen Judy Niemeyer. I see her quilts all over the place. But have I met her? No. And even if I did, I wouldn't know who she is because I don't know what she looks like. Okay. I should be back in time for the beginning Zoom, trying to change my insulin pump so I can go have a drop of quilt off too. Okay. We shall see you there, Carissa. Interesting, but sorry you have to do that. No. Wait, I've skipped one. Carissa's saying I have to keep my phone with me at all times, or my pump or Dexcom will stop reading the blood sugar alerts. Stay. This table must be at an angle because, yeah, it keeps wanting to roll. And it's rolling that way. Take a level and take a look at that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do one complete block of this pink, and we'll call it alive. I know I have a pink square that matches this. So here is my 2.5-inch squares, which I can see it by color, so I know there's a pink here somewhere. I used to keep these 2.5-inch squares in these little paper cubes, but I figured they weren't easy to manage in those cubes. Maybe I'll just use that. So I found a bin in which I can fit all of these 2.5-inch squares. Oh, I didn't press that. Let me just do a quick press of this. And I got more than enough, so I'll do it like that. Put that to the side, and where's my white? And we can sew this one together. Oh, speaking of prices, Amazon just gave me an alert that there's a price drop on something that I was looking at. Well, thank you for that, Alexa. Hello from Bucharest. Hello, hello. Welcome. You're so fortunate to have so many. Oh, I wasn't talking to you. Oh, you're so fortunate to have so many quilt shop designers, guilds, quilting friends. I consider myself fortunate to watch you. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I do know overseas, yeah, it's a different story when it comes to fabric shops and quilt shops. Case in point, there is somebody that I know of. Actually, there's two people. There's Katie, the Greenland quilter, who obviously she lives in Greenland, and she does mention the fact that she has to pay a lot extra, a lot more for stuff that we take for granted here in the States, which would make sense because everything has to be shipped over there. So I'm pressing this one towards, well, let me just sew it on and I'll figure the pressing afterwards. So since this one is going in, that one has to go out. Kind of breaking the conventional rule here of pressing to the dark side. But this is a case of pressing to make it work. And I'm just doing it just so that I can nest the seams together. Even though I know there's going to be some shadowing. Hopefully it won't be too visible, but that's not really going to bother me. Better get, yeah, it's like that. That's upside down. So let me just sew one extra block so I can get the final row. So from Bucharest, what time is it there now? It must be close to midnight, I would imagine. And it goes like that. Yeah. I do have enough to make a red or a scrappy red, so I'll do the. I'll do it like so. Nope. We'll use that in the later. Sorry about that, and I shall press this one because I know that's gonna. We'll do a bonus here. Hunting for that red fabric. Here it is not. Where is it? Where is it? Huh. I guess I don't have one that matches that, so I'll just use this. And the white stack of fabrics that I had is all here. Might need more than that, so I'll just pull that. So I'll go, so these two together. And this one is now complete. Sort of, still got to press that. So this, press this back. Hi, Charlotte. It's almost 9 p.m. Wow. Okay. So she's in Bucharest. And I pressed that the wrong way. It should go out. press this. Well, no. Normally I would be pressing these seams towards the darker fabric, but on this particular block, in order to get the seams to nest nicely, I'm doing the opposites. Because I have the 4 patches in the corners, the fabric has a tendency of wanting to press the seam or have me press the seam to the middle square, which is just a solid piece of fabric. So it's kind of the path of least resistance there. And so this one is upside down. Now I'll put that aside for a second. Let me press the seams open. Roly-poly. Here we go, rolling. There. Yeah, it's at these intersections where the seam allowances join up. That's where having a roller can really help you get it flat and open it up before going to the iron. And just opening it up and just rolling a couple times over at those intersections. And you can hear the squeaking, or I don't know if you can hear the squeaking of the roller. But that's how you know it's working. Okay, and I will just sew off on a piece of scrap fabric so that I can get this piece off here. And we can sew like that. Yep. So if you haven't figured this out yet, I am trying to make a Irish chain type of effect with these blocks, which is why the 4 patches in the corner, the direction of where the print fabric is kind of does matter. It would be easier if I just lift it up and then just so I can get this initial seam open there. And we will run it down. Ooh, that squeak is annoying, but I know it's working, and it's working hard. So I will tolerate it. And here we go. Press that open. Press that open. And I can't seem to get this last one open, so it's being stubborn. There. Roll that. And roll that. Okay, so let me kind of clean up this a little bit, and I will show you what I'm really up to with this project. Slide that to the side. We'll put Jack away. So this is what I'm kind of talking about. You want to create this chain effect. So I can put a block here, and can put another block there. Let me hide this for a second. There. So you can kind of see the full effect. And you see how it kind of creates this pattern where you got a line of squares going this way, and you also have another line of squares going that way. So, and then I'll put a different block here as well as different blocks here. And then this is what they typically call the Irish chain pattern or the Irish chain layout. So that's what I'm doing. Something you guys can look forward to in the future. So yeah. So I'll be continuing on making these on our live Zoom chat later on today, but I wanted to end the session here because I need to start setting up stuff for that live. So yeah. So that is it for the live session today. If anybody has any last minute questions or comments, I'll stay on for about another minute. Otherwise, Charlotte says she is working on a Hunter Star quote for her grandson who will be graduating from high school soon. Wow. That's a wonderful gift as a graduation gift. So good luck with that, Charlotte, and let us know how it goes. But yeah, I want to thank you guys. Time to get ready to head to the quote show. Bye. Okay, that's Susan. Enjoy your time there. So I want to say thank you guys for joining me here on this live session here. I apologize for the confusion early on. Again, something happened where YouTube was, well, it's actually my fault probably. So I will be sure not to do that again. But yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Or make the same mistake, shame on me. All right, guys. So that is it for this live session. Enjoy your rest of your Saturday. And again, for those of you that are joining me on Zoom, I will see you there in about an hour or so. If you're interested in joining us, just send me an email to the Treasure Heart Creations. It's treasureheartcreations@gmail.com, and make sure that you do have it spelt correctly, like how you see it on the screen there. I hope it's there, without the spaces, and it's all in lowercase letters. treasureheartcreations@gmail.com. Do it soon so I can send you the information, because once I start on Zoom, unfortunately, I can't access my email. So, all right, guys. Thank you for joining me here this morning, and have the rest of your week. Have a great rest of your weekend, and let's all get out there and let's all create something. Bye for now.